All right, here we are. Welcome to the facilitator course. I'll be your facilitator. My name is Jonathan Saunders from Trojan Training Solutions. I'm a registered facilitator, assessor, moderator, as well as a STF practitioner. I'm also the training manager for Trojan Training Solutions. We have 4 different facilitators. Unfortunately, we run continuously online classes, so they are busy with the evening classes and so forth, so it's not a problem. I'll be taking you guys through the course and also through the assessor course. So just a quick heads up. We're not going to rush it, meaning we're going to take it step by step. The course is divided into 3 modules. The first module, namely, is plan and prepare for facilitation. The second one is facilitate, how to facilitate actually, to execute your facilitation. And the third one is to evaluate learning. So what we do, we'll run it from today, say up until Wednesday, and then on Thursday morning, we'll do the POE part. So with your course, you're going to need to conduct a simulation. And there is what we call a portfolio of evidence. So in your portfolio of evidence would be your learner workbook, known as your summative assessment, your formative assessment, and also your POE guide, together with your simulation that you're going to conduct. And according to your POE guide, the assessor will then assess your POE, and then you'll be found competent or not yet competent. So that is how we determine the competency. But there's also a criteria that we need to work with. But I'll show you later on in the course how we determine the criteria as well, because it's part of the facilitation. Right, just some couple of class rules. You guys can mute your microphones. At the end of the class, I will allow time for questioning. Please note that we are limited to 1 hour. The reason said for that being is if we go over 1 hour, you start losing concentration, and then everything I present to you becomes pointless. So that's why we always keep our classes up to 1 hour at a time. Remember, it's a lot of information that you need to take in, and some of the information can be strange, so we need to work through it and just break down all the big words into a more simple understanding manner. Course details. So the course, every course has a course title, has a SAQA ID number that it belongs to, and it's rated at a certain NQF level, and it's also been rated for a certain credits that you will receive. So the course that you are currently doing is facilitating learning using a variety of methodology. The SAQA US ID is 117871. It's rated at the NQF level 5. Sorry, and it's worth 10 credits. Now, how your credits works is if you want to go further into the education field, the next course after completing facilitation, assessor, and moderator would be then to go for the full qualification, the ODE-DEP. Then part of the ODE-DEP is there's parts of the facilitator, there's parts of the moderator course, there's parts of the STF course and so forth. So the credits that you obtain now from this course, if you want to use it towards the full qualification, it will just allow you some leniency on certain sections, which means is you're not going to repeat the section on the facilitation or the module on the facilitation because you've really done the facilitation course. Now, guys, this course belongs to ETDP. It's still under the historical legacy qualifications. So it means it's not a QCTO course. Now, just to clarify how the new QCTO works with the legacy qualifications is you can still use this course to facilitate the new occupational occupational qualifications. That means you can still facilitate QCTO courses, just as long as it is seen with your scope of work, meaning that it's in your expertise. Remember now, facilitation. A facilitator does not get a registration document as the assessor. Facilitators work according to their CVs, expertise, qualifications, and their statement of results. If you are going to do the new QCTO facilitation course, I think it's learning and development of facilitation, you are only allowed then to facilitate the new QCTO courses, meaning the occupational courses. So to give you a broad idea of the difference between ETDP, QCTO. ETDP focuses on knowledge and more on theoretical assessments. QCTO focuses on workplace experience and also more on practical experience. So it means is where you're going to do this course online and you've done it through simulations to determine your competency. With QCTO, you're going to actually physically have to be in this working environment in order for the assessment to determine your competency. So that's the two difference between the two courses at the moment. Otherwise, the criteria, everything is exactly the same. Concerned about your registration? Okay, I've explained that part. So, which means is you are safe. You are not going to, this course is not useless. Even if we go over to QCTO, it will still remain the same. No one needs to repeat the new occupational qualification or the new facilitation course with QCTO. Course modules, as I've mentioned, it's plan and prepare for facilitation, facilitate learning, and evaluate learning and facilitation. So to start off, we start off with the question, what is a facilitator? A facilitator or facilitators support the development and process of training programs to help learners more effectively retain and apply new skills. The role involves overseeing and optimizing training methods within an organization. Now, to break it down a bit more simpler so it's more understandable, there's a huge difference between a facilitator and a teacher. A facilitator can use various difference of methodology to actually train participants, where a teacher has to work according to a curriculum. Now, facilitators, they can take certain content out of a materials. So they can decide this content is very important for my participants to know. I need to focus on this. Where a teacher can't, they have to work according to the curriculum. Just remember, as a facilitator, what you are busy doing is the knowledge and skills you have, you are busy transferring it to your participants. This is how you facilitate. Your knowledge that you have according to a subject or a course or a qualification, you are going to learn other people what you have learned. That's just to put it in a more understandable manner. What is the difference between a teacher and a facilitator? The main difference between a facilitator and a teacher is that teachers use their subject matter expertise to design curriculum, presentations, and learning materials. Teachers create and implement learning materials while facilitators support learners through the process and help maximize their education. So again, a facilitator can actually take any material that he or she is familiar with, that's in their scope, and they can transform it into a facilitation part, into a training session. And it doesn't have to be that you have to go through all the modules. You as the facilitator will then decide what needs to be known from what is necessary. So that is where the advantage comes in between a teacher and a facilitator. Learning facilitation cycle, just to give you guys an idea, let's just quickly go through it. So the first thing you do once you start off and you're going to facilitate a class or a workshop even, is first determine and analyze learning needs. Your main focus with facilitation is focusing on your participants, on your learners. What are their needs? Analyze them. Perhaps you're going to have people with special needs in your class. How are you going to approach them so they can be part of your facilitation? So that is our main first step, is first determine the learner's needs and analyze them. After that, we start preparing for learning. This is now where you start preparing your facilitation. Facilitation can be in various forms. Just remember, it doesn't have to be in a simple PowerPoint presentation form. It can be even in a video clip form. It can even be in a discussion form. This we'll learn later on. After we've prepared for our facilitation, we've prepared now the learning, all the content and everything is prepared, then we need to start facilitating the learning. Actually, we need to start facilitating. We need to start training our participants. Now, after we've done facilitating and training our participants, we need to, as facilitators, also need to know how successful was our facilitation. Did all the learners participate in the facilitation? Did everyone clearly understand what we facilitated? And the only way we can determine that is by evaluating the learning. So which means is we need to create a checklist or a questionnaire that we can go around and give to our learners so they can evaluate our facilitation and give their honest opinion. How did they find it? Just to give you an idea, you're always going to find some negative and positive comments. Don't see it as negative, the negative comments. The negative comments will only assist you in improving in your facilitation. That's how we see it in the training industry. No facilitation is perfect or flawless. There's always room for improvement. But the only way we can determine where we need to improve or we need to adjust our facilitation is actually through the evaluation part, where we design a certain checklist or a certain questionnaire that we hand out to our learners at the end of our facilitation so they can give us feedback. How did they find it? So it's very important. As you can see in your facilitation, your learners or your participants, they play a big role in your facilitation, right from the start up until the end of your facilitation. Right. Analyze of learners and learning needs. The determining of a target learner is merely a concern, a way of summarizing the need to specify, selected and appropriate, appraise the people to be trained. All through the design of any training course is strongly influenced by